It is you and just your grace. You have changed my story. From the heartbreaker, you made a way. You turned my mourning into dancing. It is you and just your grace. Come on, help me. Praise is centered on your grace. I don't want to. I've been through a lot, but grace sustained me. My test is now a testimony. So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. Don't
no ho de amaye na lawyers yi omo ye hwan no lawyers yi nyame adom anopei omo ye BWF Solicitors BWF Solicitors omo lawyer kentin kan lawyer ketechie doctor mu doctor lawyer Uncle Ben and Mr. Dr. Bernard Owusu ene odiemeka abefidia na nsem no ebetu dwan ene more dent is our lawyers here from BWF Solicitors is obehwe mrana they've been operating over 28 years and counting. It's a can law in experience and I say omwana minimu bedi dumane ne lawyer no lomo law no anase mra no omunimo pa omunimo ye yo when mechecha obi biara depending the situation where you are no depending the environment mo awo no e bia no pe wie mumbre no let us say good morning, good afternoon and good evening ye be sha say mretia wa ye mre 6 minutes corner da enti ye twintwen so kram ye twintwen so and me small way a problem e wa ha kit ni say your WhatsApp line no You need me see or man charge phone my phone I completely dying. Completely dead. Let us say we can use the number 07787939958. Ye Jimmy and you so Nemo ye be use 0759666 20154. Maybe use no more Miss Remo any demo me to the messa repeat it in a bear and croffer because and charge and a crown mammy problem ever ha na send ye tea be an ibedio so ibedim yo lawyer Bernard wa ha ye twintwan so ye nuamba no ma ode bre ye se adom na ekraye ampa adom ne nti ene ye betwintwan ye beyim ye mra na bebia eda na ene ne eda no eye de yie eye fenso na ebe me de se wo betwe aben fidie no na wetie anase wafra wo nue bi wafra wadamfo bi ebusue ni bi se behwe na ensema eba se na nyoma bebre wo ho a ye fa ho a anase ye nimu a ebeboa ye wo kwan bi so ebe ni se ebi ni enne edwumadi eba bedi ni topic eba be sinse finti mu no eto de bia oni obeti senia yenimu no oba ni oba ni obema ni obema and is the order of the day senia ti de be kan wasem na mo ni etie ni se oni obeti ebia obeka mo cohabitation na wo partner na se bibi oni na tena few months ekopim a year na se bibi wa onye wo ho ade na mutibom ti sa warefo na munnim legal protection wom anase right kakra bi a ewo ma mom mienu na eno ne e ba be finti mu nti obi besie ye bebo ni tiawa yes the right of unmarried couples nti no let us say mon worry you na so moti and we be say is the style in UK here brofo bebre ati bomu a sebi previous omonye aware omongware ye nanso omoti bom ti sa aware fo eja na awona no odin ti obefa de sa enti no moti bom e de na trese emre bi wo ho a ebetumi protect back on the right so onwa de no emre bi wo ho a be protect back on the right e bia na nyina ye nkrata semo wo ne nkrata mo amonwo ye nanso moti bom na prekope ba ko si mejao enam krata obeware na wenye binti no no ahyeda mejao na je se ujao nim se wafa nwedi anase mbi kra na oni ne betena ye no mwa hihye nyoma emi kra na da na mutimu no mwato anase mwaye bibi je se once you stay together definitely you might have come across few things that you've done together wo kwan bia so mwaye together afedi emre kakra be mu a o say mami papa misrew twon ho twon right ben na wo sa de ni mu enne me say twe ben ifidie no na Facebook for me checha mo nyina mo amaba so nyina mo checha mo yo ye beko na ye dwintwan so ye beko na ye de agro no ahyase. Good morning Uncle Ben. Adomu nkwa papa ye ho ye pa na mpatwa mo nso ye
ho ye pa
yo
na me shara nto nka papa em se sisi ana ye
okay yo yedase papa yedase yo eneno em se fits beye mienu miense bi na woso entino ya na mfa nchametie for say bibi etuchima is we are trying to see how best we can serve the whole community in different places entino obetie ya wo GN radio Facebook so YouTube so yesa wo BWF Solicitors for website no so mo Facebook live no so omo fa enti misremo whichever way I person wo hwe ye no bomode na join ye na ye huni acknowledge mo so mo presence na agro no enye fe yo Uncle Ben ye ntwintwan so besra wadaroma mema ho kwan na wachiechia atiefo na afi de enedwumedi a ye wo kwan so me bisa ho nsam kakra na ye de abetu dwa patwa wadaroma.
Okay, it's for the young home, Facebook and YouTube, GM Radio app, and I think so. BWF, your Facebook, the chia munina, yedi nyami asise anopai, oma yemkwa na yetini asore. Manyeti emsa anopai, adi potia, yepesa yeka, omote, edi bema neba, na oma ye family, bibri, our community, na edi omware, na chese, and no, instead na yepesa yeka.
Okay.
Auntie, my man fan kopoto mkasa sese na BBI, you know.
Sa.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Our topic for today is about unmarried cohabitees, or those who are living together as if they are married, but they are not legally married. Most of you will refer to this particular situation as common law partner or common law marriage. Unfortunately, there's no legal definition for common law partner or common law marriage. The only definition we know is that these people or this couple will be considered as a married couple. As most of you will be aware, marriage confers a lot of rights, including protection of proprietary rights, property rights, matrimonial asset protection for children, protection for widows in time of death, and also if somebody dies under intestacy law, then the wife or the husband can inherit even if there's no will. So the Office of National Statistics, the ONS, has said that there are over 4 million families living together in unmarried arrangements or married homes. So we have about over 4 million families who are living together as partners, usually with children, for many years, but the partners are unmarried. And our topic today is very poignant. It's poignant because of the difficulties that we see in our community, where relationships unfortunately break down and each party goes their separate ways. And unfortunately, because the parties were not married, the law doesn't recognize the rights of each party unless it's been specifically drawn in an agreement or in a deed. And I'll explain that later. So if you're living together with a man or a woman, you are unmarried, the law doesn't protect you, unfortunately, when it comes to distribution of assets, if and when the relationship breaks down. Also, although your children may have certain rights under the Children Act, you will not have any rights in relation to matrimonial distribution of assets, or what we previously called ancillary relief rights. Your right may only arise under what we called the Tolata of 1996, or the Trust of Land and Administrate and Trustee, Appointment of Trustees Act of 1996. But that means that you have to go to court and make an expensive application at the High Court. So this is what you have to do. If you are in a relationship, or before you go into a relationship, and the intention is that you're going to go into a permanent relationship and you do not want to commit to a marriage situation, then the best thing to do is to draw up an agreement, what we call a cohabitation agreement or a deed. The cohabitation agreement is an agreement between two parties. Usually a man and a woman. Also in the UK, it can be people who are living together as gay partners. And what the agreement does is that it sets out what your rights are in relation to any property that is acquired, in relation to pension, and also in relation to contribution towards assets and financial contributions in the home, either towards bills or upbringing of the children. It also sets out the rights of ownership of assets. For example, if one party had an asset before they came into the they came into the relationship, then you can set out clearly that this asset belongs to either A or B, and that it belongs to him wholly. Any contribution from yourself, either towards the purchase of assets, of materials, either fixed assets or fixtures, furniture, clearly will not create a right in that property for you. The other thing that you also want to look at is that in unfortunate incident of death, what should happen to your pension? As we know, under our pension rights, it's only widows who will be entitled when their husbands pass away to the widow's pension. So if you're living with someone and you're married, unfortunately, when the person dies, you will not have entitlement to their pension. However, the law has been changed, which means that the person can elect you or appoint you as a beneficiary under the will. How do you draw up an agreement? First of all, both parties must have different legal advice. So you must not have the same lawyer, okay? For the agreement to be accepted as valid and effective by the courts, you will need to have different legal advice from different lawyers. The man will have to have a different advice, and the woman will have to have a different advice. That way, you can be guaranteed that you're both getting competent and independent advice. Once you've got your advice and you've settled your agreement, both parties will have to sign the agreement. And once the agreement is signed, it becomes binding on both parties, which is that in the unfortunate event that you separate, then the agreement can be acted upon either between the parties, or unfortunately, if there's a dispute, then the court, it will have to go to the court, and there's case law which says that the court will implement it. Also, be mindful that if you live with someone and the person dies intestate, if somebody dies intestate, what it simply means is that the person did not write up a will. Yeah. It means that the intestacy rule will come in. And if somebody dies without a will, if they haven't got a partner, by a partner I mean a wife or a husband or a civil partner, then under the rules of intestacy, the next person to inherit will be his children. If there are no children, the next person to inherit will be the parents. If there are no parents, the next person to inherit is full-blood siblings. If there are no full-blood siblings, then half-blood siblings. Now, this is where it gets a bit unfortunate, because can you imagine a scenario where you've lived with a man or a woman for, let's say, 25 years, and you've got 3 children? For all intents and purposes, you're living together as married couple, but unfortunately, you're not married. And this man has acquired 2 properties or 3 properties, and this man dies without a will. Yes, your children will benefit, but you will not benefit because the property was held in his sole name and there's no agreement as to what should happen to the property if there's a separation or death. Now, I am conscious of the fact that even yesterday, I spoke to someone who is going through the same situation. Over the last 3 months, I've spoken to no less than 10 people. And these are very decent women who have gone into a relationship with every intention to stay in it permanently. In 2 cases, these women and their partners had what they thought was a customary marriage in the UK. Now, just remember that in the UK, there's only one form of marriage, and which is the English marriage or the registry or the church marriage. You cannot have a customary marriage ceremony in the UK. If you do that, it's not valid in the UK. So their marriages are not valid, and therefore they will be considered as unmarried partners or cohabitees. Sadly, the relationship has soured, which means that a woman has experienced domestic violence. She's got 3 children with this gentleman. She's a hardworking person, very decent woman who was born and brought up in this country. How does she move on? Because the only asset they have is in the sole name of the partner. And these are the issues that we are highlighting because it affects a lot of children and a lot of partners in this country. So Manyati, my advice is that if you're living with someone and you're not married, draw up a cohabitation agreement. Also, if you're acquiring a property together, you need to do what we call a declaration of trust. A declaration of trust is a deed that relates to a property. So you can say that we've bought this property together, or it may be in the sole name of one person. But because of the declaration of trust, you are either holding the property as tenants in common or joint tenants. Tenants in common is that each person has a share in the property. It may be a 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30 or 80-20. But if you say it's joint tenant, then you each hold the property in 50-50 share. Remember that if you are holding a property as joint tenants, you cannot pass the property to another person in a will, even if you want to. Although your share is 50-50. If you die, the other party will inherit your share of the property wholly. It cannot pass under a will. And therefore, just be mindful that when you buy a property together and you're not married, or if you buy a property in sole name and you're not married, and you've made a contribution, you need to draw up a declaration of trust in relation to that property so that you can define your interest in the property either as tenants in common with percentages or as joint tenants with 50-50 share, and it passes or it devolves on death. Finally, in relation to claiming benefits, the state benefit recognizes partnership. However, just be mindful that in relation to state pension, if you are not married, then you cannot claim the widow's pension when one person passes away. So Manyati, this is what I want to highlight. In fact, yesterday someone called me. She's left her partner of many, many years. Okay. The partner is suffering from stroke, and he's had stroke for a while. The partner's children are living in the property with their partners, but she's moved out for the past 9 years to live elsewhere. She wants to know what she can do. Unfortunately, in this case, the only thing she can do is for the man to pay her off or for the property to be sold. Can you imagine that a man who is suffering from disability and has his children living there as well, if the property has to be sold, and which will have to be sold because he cannot prevent it, exactly, then it causes all sorts of problems. But if you've drawn up a cohabitation agreement and you've stated in there that in the event that one person suffers disability, then the property cannot be sold unless the person passes away. These are things that you can look at. And I will say to everyone, you start by living together on a temporary basis. But once you're living together, you still need to get an agreement because we all go into relationships hoping for it to last. But sometimes the unfortunate incident happens and you may have to call off the relationship. And it is for these reasons that I advise that every person who is living with a man or a woman and they are not married, they need to speak to a lawyer to have drawn up a cohabitation agreement or a declaration of trust.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ben. Indeed, in fact, explaining these things, you made mention of a couple got married probably outside the UK. Do they have to register their marriage here as well in order to get this kind of thing, get the right of anything?
Okay, now, first of all, we've written an article which should be out, I believe, on Monday, and that touches on Ghanaian marriages and its validity in England. Okay. So if you're our friend on Facebook, you will get the article. If not, you can go to our website. I think it should be posted, I'm sure, latest by Monday. It's a very short article, and what I've put together is 2 cases, one of which that I was involved at the High Court and the Court of Appeal. I was the advisor in that case. And there's another case that I wasn't involved. It's a very old case, which most of you will be aware. I've put those two cases together and I've advised our community the relevance and effectiveness and the validity of Ghanaian marriages. Now, if you marry under Ghanaian customary law in Ghana, and you bring or you want to rely on that marriage in the UK, that marriage is valid. I mean, there's plenty of case laws, some of which I have been involved in. So that marriage is valid, although it's potentially polygamous. That marriage is valid in the UK. So if the marriage was conducted in Ghana and it satisfied all the requirements of Ghanaian customary marriage, then the English court, the English and the Welsh court will recognize that marriage as if that marriage was also conducted in England. So it's valid. And again, that's something that people will consider. Last year, I saw a couple, one Ghanaian born here and then one a West Indian gentleman. They've lived together for a while. And the woman desired that they married under customary law, but the man was, not all for it. So, but advice clearly will be that in that case, because they were buying properties together, it's advisable to draw up a cohabitation agreement.
Okay, Uncle Ben, thank you so much. Let's divert our tongue now into our local Ghanaian for Yedamasi, senior Uncle Ben Acheche Mono. Sana, maybe San in some flower, senior Beya Mobeti. Uncle Ben, asma apechichi moyedasi. Now, baby, okay, yes, do nipa kono partner no, mobabet na together no. Embia na obana na so bema no watoto waye ni ho nioma sabi oginemu dada na chese waye nioma bebre ansa wo be join no na wo join no nso no mo ware na matna boma ye nioma bi akeka aka ho na ayembia se embia na watro ni will dada before no na wansisa will no e na true ka na se mpofremu bibi esi so yo bema na so bema bibi esi ye na ofri mo na ayembia se wo a one ne betna ye no tama wo bae no se wo proofs like embia mene no akoto ye kan sen shares bi na share no okoto ni dim nso embia na misika I have evidence showing that the money is coming from my account to buy that kind of share and as embia a dime po nanso okoye papers on that a dime na say anything at all no or your no kwani din meanwhile no date everything shows say wo sika ena yede yes a ejapade no anase ena meka embia okitekita proofs nkiti bi etre se ade we ye build ye no me sika bibi but edin a odekoto so your onunkwani din Uncle Ben ebanisa still can you use your proofs to get the share of this property anase still once enka will no hono say ebanosa is it you mentioned our intestacy rule no ebeko oban ne ma ana ne blood relative mpacho betumi amaye mwaye kakra wo ho
yo ohema manye ti se dodo na mekan na ewo brofo mu no ase amekan ne se kromo ha no yewo yenuanom a omote a omonware aban mpesue so wona wakenkan nipa dodo ewo kromo ha from ONS ana Office of National Statistics no almost say kromo ha no yewo abusua dodo beye opepe and 94 million families are almost more than 4 million families are almost omonware na chese akoya busua omote oba ne bema ebia mkola awom omatena afebo sa asetena no aya ede ohaw eba de entiete sa ne se senke woma ware a ehihye na ye wo ye Matrimonial Causes Act a ye frɛ no Matrimonial Causes Act 1973 now section 25 no nke ba se aware no egu a nke no na ebeye adwuma pasa woni obite na monware ya ehihye bia ni ho se mujae a na mato edan abom ebia wo ba kodin mu anaasɛ baako koraa a ɔba no ɔdo ande ne property ne bae anaasɛ muti sɛbio na nipa anya ne baabi kɔ na wanyɛ will na wɔba na na bɛrima na wɔne na tena bɛyɛ 20 years ama wo bɛyɛ mmiɛnsa no na ɛkɔba saa na wono na woni tumi bia even the pension koraa no woni tumi deɛ nti ɛte saa ne sɛ ɛyɛ a yɛnnuanom bebree feel sɛ wɔne ɔbaa anaa bɛrima te na moatena akyɛ a bibi wɔ hɔ yɛfrɛ no common law marriage mesrɛ mo bibi ni hɔ a yɛfrɛ no common law marriage marriage no yɛ baako pɛ sɛ ɛyɛ Ghana marriage o ɛyɛ UK marriage o ɛyɛ baako pɛ nti sɛ nyɛ adeɛ a wakɔyɛ ɔbaa no ho adeɛ ɛkɔ ho abusuafoɔ anaasɛ moakɔ court wɔ ha na moasensan document anaa Ghana anaa asɔre fie na moakɔyɛ meka asɔre fie a menka asɔre wɔ kurom ha a ɔmo ni tumi sɛ ɔmbɛware mo kurom a no tumi a yɛde ware wɔ asɔre no ɛyɛ Church of England pɛ ana ɛwɔ saa tumi asɔre biara pɛ sɛ ɔware wɔ a ɛwɔ sɛ ɔkɔgye tumi foforɔ na ɔtumi de ware wo ɛno mo na mɛka no deɛ ma no ba saa no sɛ woanhyehyɛ wo nneɛma yie a ebi ni sɛ wokɔ ne bɛrima yi anaa ɔbɛyɛ akɔtena ɛwɔ sɛ motwerɛ krataa bi a yɛfrɛ no cohabitation agreement anaasɛ mpenafoɔ a ɔmote ɔmo nhyehyɛe a ɔmo atwerɛ gu krataa so wotwerɛ gu krataa no so a ebi a wo se o me Akosua Atenewa ne Kofi Antobam me Kofi Antobam ne Akosua Atenewa ɛda sɛ yɛtenae na mmom ɛdan a yɛatɔ yi saa dan me deɛ wom ɛyɛ 70% ɔbaa no deɛ ɛyɛ 30% me Kofi Antobam me wɔ ba wɔ Ghana ansa na meba saa ade mu enti me dan a me wɔ yi sɛ meka baabi a mesrɛ wo me will ama yɛ no sei ɛnkɔ me mma no hɔ sei ɛmmra ɔbaa no hɔ anaasɛ bills a ɛwɔ sɛ yɛtua wɔ fie ha no ɔbaa no bɛtua gas ɛne council tax na watɔ aduane bi so mɛtua mortgage saa nhyehyɛe no mutumi yɛ a ɛboa nansa na mobɛyɛ saa nhyehyɛe no ɛwɔ sɛ mo nyinaa no monyɛ lawyer na lawyer no ɛma mo advice nti ɔbaa no ɔso nya lawyer different woso nya lawyer deɛ nti ɛte saa ne sɛ case law a aba nyinaa no case law no sɛ sansa na obi bɛ sign saa agreement no ɛwɔ sɛ ɔde ne pɛ ana ɛsign nti ɛwɔ sɛ yɛ voluntary ana ɛwɔ sɛ ɔwɔ tirimopɔ bi sɛ ɔpɛ sɛ ɔsign saa agreement no nti wohwɛ case bi te sɛ Stark versus Dowden a ɛyɛ court of appeal case anaasɛ Jones versus Kernot a ɛyɛ Supreme Court decision a saa two cases no wohwɛ biribi a yɛfrɛ no trust declaration of trust either implied trust or constructive trust a ɛyɛ nipa no adwen ana yɛde hwɛ enti yɛse tena a motenaeɛ no nhyehyɛe no a moyɛɛ no although sɛ ɛnni krataa mu yɛhwɛ mo suban no a na mode tena a dan na ɛkyerɛ sɛ dan yi motɔ ma bɛrima no nko a anaa motɔ sɛ ɔbaa ne bɛrima no bɛfa mesrɛ mo sɛ monyɛ agreement no koraa a yɛfrɛ no cohabitation agreement a mobɛtumi a yɛ biribi yɛfrɛ no declaration of trust a ɛno no moatɔ dan no ɛwɔ sɛ motwerɛ sɛ bɛrima no deɛ ɛyɛ 50 also deɛ ɛyɛ 50 anaasɛ moyɛ tenants in common a ebi a 70-30 anaa moyɛ joint tenants a ne nyinaa no adeɛ ɛka ne sɛ daakye biara biribi si na ɛwɔ sɛ mo tete a na mo baako ndi abubu na kyerɛ sɛ mowɔ krataa edi ho adanseɛ sɛ mo tete a weifa wei na kyerɛ sɛ mo nyinaa ho atɔ
asɛm na mu odu ɛyɛ na sisia no ɛyɛ abɛn ɛne will tro ne ade bebre na sisi obehu yɛbɛyɛ ijapade na edu baabi a ɔsi meja onim sɛ ɔnware wo nti no na afei na ɛsɛ wo nsɛm ɛkɔ akosi fam nanso no ɛna ankabɛn akyerɛ yɛn sɛ mmra kakra ɛwɔ hɔ a ebetumi aboa wo nti sɛ saa nsɛm right no ansana mo mayɛ madwuma si mutin mo pɔsɛ mo de mo nware na nso mo betena no saa
restoration of trust na mombo modern ye bi na montre bibia mobeya bom no montronto o se me no na ya bom inte ba ne saa na kye se munim se emra no ebetumi edi aboamo yo etiefo aha ye GM radio dwumedi a ya to ni den se legal hour eno na iguso a ye ne ye papa ye bibia lawyer Bernard Owusu a ya to ni se Uncle Ben ona ye ne no ha ye ne ni di dwuma no obetumi ahwe wo GM radio Facebook so obetumi ahwe ye nso wo BWF Facebook live so obetumi nso enya ye nsa wo YouTube ne so se ne ebe ya ebekwa echichichi dodo na abaso nyina mesan achichi amu nyina mo also Shadrack Opon Sister G mo also Foster Fox. Hey, good morning to Uncle Ben and all the BWF solicitors nti ye so Michael K Amwa ye so Ohima Vicky wososo ye so and Prince Balfour Ejima yo send ye tell ni say ene me number ba ku titira nanka nkrofo di omo WhatsApp messages eba so no it's rather unfortunate phone no em say ne ho atichima kakra enti no ye number na ye 07787939958 no mesrem ani die mum ene enye adwuma enti wo the question fa ho a me hu mpo na makan e de amount nti no ye de number miensa no ene edidi dwuma no ba ko no eye obetumi asend voice note na wasan afresh no ana wasan WhatsApp message no eye 075 mesrem mo nhya ne nsoma me why na se obi nso etie me odofo bi a odo me pa etie me a me bobo no nso on type wo ye ka ne sen ye fidie ne so nso emma me se ne ebe ya ebe contemptem eye 075 966 20154 me san esisubium 075 966 20154 odofo bi emfanto Facebook ne so mame na yempe ne ento honom yo na mienu na yedidi dwuma no nso ye 0203 735 8820 ana se 0203 286 0185 ene de ensesa ye into ubetumi afreso na webisa wonsem afenso ayembia odi nsem eba Facebook ne so a odi nsem no ebiba o question ba Facebook ne so nso a mehwe na makan ama that's just exceptional one mehwe na makan e de ama se ne ebe ya ye betumi akoyenim yo Uncle Ben ye koyenim ye twentwen dofo no obi ye nya first caller nyame enhira wo na ma end with 5588582 sorry mpacho wo frefre hina ye frɛ wo sen
mpacho ye frɛ me isa me frefre Doncaster.
Yo papa good morning mpacho Uncle Ben wa ha bisana sem no na yenko
mpacho me question here menu first one no me na me kofa oba owo nkwala menu nti nkwala menu so onim se me so me nkrata and I say okay no problem obeboa me ne me nkrata but oba no ejuma all year so no ontimi we see it 18,600 no. So in these circumstances, honestly, no, I say ontimi will be because of a problem, because of our work. Nti nkwala me no baku 6 baku 8. Nti in this case circumstances, obey the no otimi aboa me na me so na me nya krata. That is the first question. The second question is said. Only BDF say me bisama no. No, I say or your EU me. But we about had 2016 and I also back before 2020 no. But since that time no only benefit also enjuma. Nti so when you be so obe ware no only pay slips and so obey then I that after ware time nipa no. That is my question. Thank you so much.
Uncle Ben. Yes, Uncle Ben.
Manyachi, first one, I'll say the partner no won Columbia 6 ne 8 ana.
Mpachane.
Ono no ni asset 90. Nkola na British ana.
Nkola no me British. Oti nkola no me British ana.
Mpacho mo British.
Na oti omo ho na wo ni omo wo hwe omo. Okay,
that is the saying.
Okay, intimanyeti. I mean, first of all, no, I'm so kasa obano and timin wubium. I mean, unfortunately, that's I affected no. So some immigration rules in it, no. So obi ane obiti say yoba ane bemate. Na omote say awarefo either say oma ware and I say oma tena 2 years. Na obano ewo ma omo British and now almost 7 years we kromo and ankola no one definitely leave. Na papa no ene nkola no ye fa ne se ono omo abaye te se busua. Nti because ono omo abaye te se busua e bi ode nkola no ko school, ode no ko football, or ko parents evening, ode no ko GP, omo tibo mu no. Papa no betimi ye nua be ma betimi agina oba no so. An application under FM router because meet eligibility requirements I be immigration status no. Omo di bibia by a friend EX1. EX1 no yewo 1A and a 1B. 1A ne say wugina akola so na entwa say bema we free kromo ha. And a 1B no so kire say wugina aware so na bibi wo ho a a friend insurmountable obstacle. I nintini wuntimi mfa emfi kromu ha. Oko EX2 na e define a dear friend an insurmountable obstacle. Na just in this case no, obetimi agina oba no so. Na wagina EX1B. Say aware no ogina so no. Ye will be a war nkola no ye British nti eno no eni se ofree ha. Sa so na rules no man of kwan the final paragraph 279 and also man of crime say obejina say akola bi wona brabo ma obetimi agina so and article 18 so obetimi agina so enti enua no so obetimi a kire so won kola na brabo ma na oni oba na ware and also oni na ware but documents e kire so o matena for at least 2 years and obetimi agina so no dey application. The second one no. And it's EU ni obaha 2016 or koi wasaba on J benefit on nye juma now with me awariana. Yes, under the EU SS no. So over EU SS now. Kasa was a ye juma. The BNY kasa inti the here say omo emphasis no nka first na ye say ye juma no. So see emphasis ne say wo kromo ha. Inti a residence na ọmọdé hwẹ nti onye adwuma kra so no betimi aware na bema na oba no enya asetena.
Yo, Uncle Ben, yedasi say obeti. Mpacho ujina huma line ne so. Ye fra usay na ukasa free.
Me pacho me kasa free leave.
Yo, mami, mpacho bisa
na last year and I mean obi eya aware. Ebe free ni no. Na me this is ever this year and I'm mama 6 months. And only back when I say our real on to me and worry be see or call Ghana eco file divorce at the buy. Now my question and say Bajai our real no. Me 6 months in a woo means me and apply the BM and I say me this is I see like I don't know me person you. Sorry, minimum at the country so mama 6 months because when if I call you EU ni.
Okay. Oyima dabe na mo ware
2020.
It's not just mo ware 3 years mbai. Inti se also why divorce. Na divorce no ye no court no trial.
Okay.
We are divorced. The court
no trial. Oh, divorce now.
There be because same point from by and also quite divorce like a free Ghana by.
Okay, into divorce no enya valid why? Divorce no enya valid. E won niam me no ho. Mum nyina me sure somewhat na kroma for more than 1 year.
Yeah.
Ana wo ye Ghana ni.
That's right.
Ana divorce na ode ba no. Wo wan take part bia wom.
Debbie.
And the case of D versus D. Obi kogu aware Ghana or the buy and a court and say no any valid waha because Obano nipa ne say wakogu na warrior no the buy Obano and take part with divorce him. And to him because we hear protection no say was say warrior did 3 years and say na when you say protection. Uja no the say divorce no ekoye bibia ebe how. And immediately na my lawyer and trouble pano say first of all divorce no the akoba no invalid.
Okay.
Because we want to take part until we put in your notice. Say or the BBA or challenge. That is the first step. The second step, say or the Akoma home officer. My home officer immediately say divorce no invalid. Namun go to case law. I mean clearly even section 46 of the Family Law Act, 2 allow no home office the rank of the BBA until omuntu divorce into. To divorce no any valid or him. Why? They 6 months, I think say me sure maybe I will an application so we a paper application because say a paper application I am valid up to June. Meaning say be more that so for application for permanent residence and as a residence card as before December don't anchor for and we are the mao do up to June. Almost expected say before June, I was so we EU SS. So 1 year. Why any time no so? I was so what card no? Yeah, you're also saying.
Card no working permit for 6 months.
Yeah, working permit
for 6 months.
Right. For up to 30
June. But so na card there go so near.
Joshua card ne so na ne de ye be strange kakra. Hwe card ne so yi na hwe ne atro so.
Me patch you neighbor. And only if I call card in was CV card nina any me nyina because say or say our ren was die on person me use card no.
Serious. Ben, sister, also free infant.
Patch me free leave card ni atwagu so EU family.
Okay.
Family member EU resident.
And I'm away application no.
Patch me no in fact said me answer na December 31st na ye free mu.
Okay, we your internet so and I will post you form.
Me post here. Check home office.
And that's why the problem is. Me who lawyers be bra omo yesa. Me nim de nti omo yesa. Anything I am out 6 months no. Enti enena kire ya ye de ye wo internet ne so no. Na anya wo 5 years no. Be ma no hwi ni wa obetimi aye. Say even no the home office kra na obetimi a stop no. So we card no so we seize a obetimi apply for fraud. In fact, I was apply for fraud. Tienena kire ya to anamo na divorce na wakoya no enye valid. Obi akoye divorce wo Ghana wo de aba one take part court na ntro DHL amfa notice amrel when take part in the divorce no enye valid e wo kromo a say obi ka say valid a fa no bra na challenge no why
Patcho yo me that
yes that say tro wadwen abomode na friend lawyers no no mombo a why
me patcho
yo nyame nshra o
answer
yo mesramo lines no aye jump na se ne etie ne se Uncle Ben explain ya mentumi emfa call no ntia na mwanya abotre kakra e de ama me why me hodi wow number 864 me hold for long mpacho what kasa friend e fra saying
good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
The Kasafri Ghana Kofianto family.
Oh, you, hey, Papa, Aquaba, Vato, Bisani.
The way I'm a quick question before Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben, the Pacho, yeah, but if you may almost start a transit visa as a me. Brussels Airlines, we won't go for me, we'll move for Brussels Airlines. Brussels Airlines, we have visa to go. If we have visa, we move Ghana. Over Ghana now, we move free Ghana. Ghana for say, we have transit visa. Now it's a family of 5. We have me uncle because of Ghana for say. We are contacted Brussels Airlines. Brussels Airlines say, we almost system. They don't know why a Ghana authority say yes, sir. 80 years and go for any still, and they have to find another ticket. And say born in your man. Five, family of 5, no, British Airlines, 10,000. Now, the person who say, the do of what to me against airline, and I say, almost can ask forever.
Yo, Uncle Ben, Pachotinenka.
Well, Mate, first of all, airline no more information. Now will be challenging or Ghana. Omufi airport na nanka was so call either say Belgium embassy. And now say omuni Belgium embassy. I normally be mujina homa. Na omu bisa omo say omo ye transit. Omo be here visa na. Uko embassies ni nyina website ewo ho. Enti say obi challenge wa obetimi the website na kire no. Ana airline no website a kire no. Meaning say sometimes no official.
The patrol is how Brussels Airline for now can say cost embassy and what the almost never done that for a long time. Community into Ghana authorities to master them as some done. And no matter the transit visa.
I don't know make church mono because the minimum say we took now I could do airport now I got 3 hours now flight in Edua. The last thing I was away and say only immigration ni an BNI4 an official because argument or my own to coin. And son I will be too quiet. I was so with your information. Either send a website we use I was so with our website photo. So when your mama send you email I was away. Unfortunately, no, it's bebre, me who bebre. I'm a Bimokraso Mukusiu airline, no, Bimunso Mukusiu Ghana government. Problem, no, sir. I was so prepared and sana wire. Transit, no, and your omunina no moje transit visa. Bimoje, but and your omunina. Airline will be the best people, my advice. It is airline no my advice. There's next question I also be so almost said. Sadly, way, in a meet me a copy, na me the actual Ghana officials. Bachelor baby, I'll meet me a copy. Now what the actual.
Yo, Mr. Kofi.
Yo, official person.
After conversation, yo, bye-bye. Pacho, so now, I've got a few questions online, so I say yeah, to me address it and more. Inti Pacho me fa away na dina so kakrama me nya botre kakrama me why. Boy Golden say, Uncle Ben, I want to ask this question. What about when you marry in Ghana and you and your partner has acquired property in Ghana, but the same couple lives in UK and they are not married, but interesting. But they have sorry, Uncle Ben, mean some far question. I want to ask if when married couples in Ghana and your partner has acquired property in Ghana, but the same couple lives in UK and they are not married, but they have also acquired property here as well. What about when there is separation? How can these property, both UK and Ghana, be shared? And times of when one person dies, can the other partner claims pension in the UK since they are married in both recognized in their marriage is both recognized in both UK and Ghana? And Ben Pacho, onya question no.
Well, Matthias, I mean, first of all, no, sir, what worry under customary law? Na o worry wa Ghana, whether so wo uni ho, a worry na koswa. Aha no ye law no egitum. Sir, unfortunately, na a worry no egua. Na e was say mo hwe na musisi musika sem so a. Property na wo Ghana no. Court no ebe kire ade a wo say ye de. Some anamonche ananko because normally no we have financial matters and to the financial relief now we negotiate because we want our pension obi wa no our property obi wa no our properties obi wa na we inherit sikabi ni nyina no you're part of the negotiation to the fact say property no Ghana no I don't trust a court no intimate directed at the court na was here Bibia mo bia no e wo se mo che.
Yo, yeah, that's it. Order for one, Maso, or landline is some patch or free hina, my unka.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Michia and Cobrenso. Me patrol, my question, and me papa, and Akofa, Nana, Abba, in Canada, and she, you need na wire settlement, no, it's indefinite. Na, and Michia and Cobena, or much say, Okofa, no, under 18. Onya the same status as papa ni kutantino the nan tia say papa no enka akola ni benya indefinite say obakroma ni apply for a imana stay mana but in this case no you apply man no o mama no pre settle into no me person busan ko ben say ekwan ben na yemfa so na akola ni benya settlement
Pre-settlement.
Akola na papa nso wa ha na.
Me patrol daddy akwana ni bibi ne nana no pe ene wa happy.
Yeah, I am mistake. I was more referred to the specific law. Nah, yeah, man, definitely.
Me patrol law
EU 11. Why?
But you.
Yeah.
In this case, we get administration review analysis.
Well, obey me, administrative review. Yeah, and as obey me, I resolution. I obey email, but administrative review you better because about case work and now we review, but just be specific. Now go to law, no obey me, I go to guidance notes and so guidance notes me refer specific page, but I know explain it. I obviously a mistake.
Yes, yeah, that's Papa. Bye bye. Yo, number here 5161 5161. It do so now for my kind messages na so kakra. Pacho, your frau say na o kasa free.
My good morning.
Good morning. Good Pacho, wow, number ended with 5161. Pacho what na me ma o akasa. Why?
Pacho yo mate.
Okay.
Pacho nam pacho me Pacho uncle good morning.
Good morning.
Pacho na pacho me hear me FLRF you know me hear extension. Nam pacho me nya problem kakra wo me driving license no. Inti na me pacho me bisa senka ebe affect me application na me pass driving no na me try very expensive insurance. But madam for be catch me so wait me abo me na nya cheaper one nti or me details but no way you know say na ono so koye ono ankasa ni 9 years no claim insurance edit to so mame nti me insurance no be say I find it very difficult to do insurance because of starting out here. Nti me say me bisa say bit me affect me application ana.
Okay. Uncle Ben.
Well, I affected application, but say the work of court, if you any question relevant, I will say what kind of crown. What kind of crown they are bait me affect you. But we per se no affect you.
Yeah, na insurance no say me pebia. They say I am more expensive scratching first no.
Affect insurance no. Ain't no.
Omu bisa our application him say
I mean say any idea or conviction. That's okay. But say what conviction you be say we say declare. Say what drive without insurance or your application here be say we say declare. But I don't know affect you. I dare bet me affect no our nationality application.
Okay. Yes, yeah, that's it, Papa.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Pachowa wa landline so no. Do so. Your frau say now kasa friend.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Papa.
Uncle Ben, Pacho, good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Manati, Pacho, bisa Uncle Ben some kakra.
Papa koso tio, why?
Me Pacho, fina menya me krata. Generally, yana minyaye. Na wali issue ni. Na pesa bisa Uncle Ben say me no obana ka say e divorce a best start e wo dia me no ya awale no last year September. And you know say e divorce no for 3 years a best start wo tama me ya awale na say January a menya me krata no na 3 years e best start. But you be say me hu ba bia the 3 years no and I say Tamam this year awale na say tamam di nyame masetna no na 3 years no e best start. But you must no.
Okay, so I will have retention of right under EUSSR. I was our did 3 years. And data more worry, and I was somewhat in a coma 1 year. And at the data we worry and gui and now I didn't hear no. And so what to me actually some worry 3 years about any data they are certain amount data more worry I know and you be before.
Okay, in fact, na say it does not as a balance on ABI on your juma. I'm saying it's a balance. Oh, yeah, okay, a ban no. Tell them which I know banning your juma. It's a banning your juma, but you make my 15 application.
Well, I affect you. I'm saying, I do a program 3 weeks ago on Saturday. First of all, no, say, who use EUSSR. One of the advantages of EUSSR, and can you masem? And so we use EUSS now we jina EU ni so a friend a relevant person and a relevant EU national na. Adi omu yana say we jina na so a waha and our waha for 5 years. Also waha and our waha for 5 years. Adi omu yana no. But so we kwaya British citizenship na. Because under EU requirements, you know, exercise of treaty right and the amount of validity no. Aya bisa. So far the aya bisa nationality I year for mukuta EU indefinite nyina no bisa say prove say no ba na be ma no ye adwuma for British nationality under EUSS no bisa but I don't see another form of presence in the UK so be pay slips no they are it me say at a certain point in time no na nipa no UK.
Yo, okay. And I'm going to that. Now, we should have that.
Yes, yeah, that's Papa. Yo,
Bye.
bye. Yes, WhatsApp line is 075-966-20154. Uncle Ben, more question. Tin kakrebi wa hami. You and my voice note. Main kind. I say good morning, lawyer Francis. Good morning. Hey, good morning, lawyer Bernard, and good morning, Manyeti. I say my friend, who is Ghanaian, married an EU national in 2009 and got 5 years residence card. He separated from the EE spouse in 2011, but did not divorce the EE spouse. He then went on to form a relationship with a British national in early 2012 and did customary marriage with a British citizen. He got Zambrano in 2014 and eventually settled status in October 2019 through his relationship and children with the British citizen. Meanwhile, he only legally divorced from the EU national in 2017. Will he be considered as having committed polygamy and therefore be falling short of good character requirement because he was still legally married to the EU national while customary married to the British citizen? When failing most forms, he chooses cohabiting. Secondly, when completing the naturalization form, what should he choose under marital status? Please help. Hey, where they are complicated, Uncle Ben.
I say no worry EU 2009 man of 5 years. And almost separate 2011. Man divorce. Worry British ni 2012. Na okoje Zambrano. Minim the oya ya unya Zambrano. Obi oba ne be ma ne nyina wa ha. Ana sisi ano 2019 unya indefinite leave. And so see October. 2017, Anna Ujai. Well, I mean, first of all, our minimum our record welcome. Sir, a year, sir, a year, our a year customary marriage, and I say our a year, sorry, our sir, a year customary marriage, yeah, Ghana, man. Your chromono polygamy are allowed under your customary law and Islam and Muslim for law. Under Section 1 of the Legitimacy Act, it raises issues. Legitimacy Act of 1976. Under Section 11 of the Matrimonial Causes Act 1973, polygamous marriage, a void, UK. Say either party, a domiciled, UK. However, the definition of domicile, any idea, creative problems because you want domicile of origin and you want domicile of choice. Sorry, say me be legal, but sometimes I like to explain this because one year is yeah. So who read the Home Office guidance notes on polygamous marriages? Papa, we on committee crime because create tuning in a customary marriage.
Yes.
And both the first marriage are valid under Ghanaian law, and the second marriage are valid under Ghanaian law.
Yes.
However, under British immigration rules, so we are polygamous marriage. Ubetimede nipa baako pe na aba into obinya be remu on the polygamous marriage. Our real amomo we kire nyina mutimi ba habio. That is the only thing. Public policy is against polygamous marriage. May a case be our high court, a reported case. A case of Yamo, in the case of Yamo versus Yamo and official solicitor's office. Yamo and official solicitor. Papano. When we banana yerenum HAVM and yerenum koye 706. Yeah, public policy is against polygamous marriage, but it is tolerated. So our any free outside and ever. And we say a customary marriage is no on committee offense be and bigamy. A polygamous marriage, but in England, because of Section 11 of the Matrimonial Causes Act, one of the marriages, a bit me a void, and you're voidable, a void, which means it's valid, but it is tolerated under the immigration requirement. And affect you. Just be mindful. Say, and you'll be an or tears here. Home Office forbid me, I can say, why a bigamous relationship. But I ran in registry marriage. Now you two customary law marriages. Now you Berman wires and a Ghanaian law not there valid. And it's now a customary law marriage now. Section B or bisa condition of man. Conditional say nail. No, any other existing marriage. But Obama side, divorced, spinster, and I say divorce or spinster. I'm on the side, any other existing marriage, which means the customary marriage certificate. Omunim say, obey me our more. It's time I worry, I will register our AB and now a year for fraud. I was a state. Enjoy. We need very complex. Can I say this?
Okay.
There are what issue with Ghanaian law marriage, Ghanaian law divorce. Our person or the baha or use wahano, Miss Remo, and I'm not shying away. Say may explain away. Munya very careful.
Okay.
Because any lawyer bia or kromoha are not Ghana law nase. And yet lawyer bia. Meaning say our barristers, me and madam for form, my advice. And I also do 2 of my cases back a court of appeal and about a high court. I reported my case now me or high court now. Me na me advise say court and the official office of the official solicitor. I am president for multiple marriages and intestacy. Obia oye wills bia ana oye probate bia say nipa no say o you so be a worry more than one wife or be used to say case enti ya kase mo fa lawyer ho a yenim de ye ka. Be very careful because me who advice say free people are omonye Ghana for ho enye correct advice affecting yema bebre to say who use Ghana customary marriage me who obia apply for passport amanema am on my throne and say the HM passport office doesn't recognize Ghanaian customary marriage. Can you imagine?
Hey.
But in Crawford, Ejitum, and don't pursue it.
Yes.
I'm not saying say yes, I don't know. But I'm saying, sir, we are proud to say, sir, in the 2 cases, Millwood versus Alfonso Brown, which I was involved from High Court to the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
And the other case of Yemo, Office of the Official Solicitor. One of them, in fact, both of them are cited by a lot of English lawyers in relation to polygamous marriages and validity of Ghanaian marriages and divorce.
Wow. Uncle Ben, yeah, that's it. And some no dog. Ma obi ejina so landline so kafra why na Uncle Ben explain this and I'm smishing adie bi mpacho ya fra say na okasa friend.
Hello, Maneti.
Papa.
Toyota ke nyani tumo.
Wane yo jugba dromo na bon Toyota.
Yo jugba ke ha nye me kokume wo macha ke ma wi twi ro block.
Kono ba you Uncle Ben ba heribu no onu.
Okay.
Yo.
Permanent resident. In 2019, into one of the NHS.
Okay.
See EU settlement scheme.
Right.
Me to find out that Kajini fee application in Ghana, which British Malak and become under 18. The EU law case and under 21. In permanent resident EU settlement scheme. In BWF law, is it under the British or under the European law?
Okay. Uncle Ben.
Inu esani ojuba. Inliake e binu kwa ba PR permanent residence ke ebi. Manyati obanya o asani ehi o chomi few.
All right, I'm repeat it for.
Okay.
In care, a permanent residence.
A permanent resident.
Yes. In 2019, if because it's the NHS, I mean, some of the many EU residents, permanent residents, have pre-settlement.
We have settled status,
yes.
Right?
Yeah,
no find a hold on. No, a settled status. Allow you pre-settled.
Settled status.
We have settled status. Okay, yeah.
Nimble follow under the EU or under the European law.
Of all belay,
under 19.
We are well Ghana Keba. Uncle Ben, Ofane.
Okay. You mean KJ EU? Ni ke yawo ebi ni use e banani e kenna shinle. Be ibanye use British law pe. Hani mama bla here ko.
Okay.
Kemuko ye indefinitely to remain. Ni akenhale because e jeg blami ni akenhale eko ekpe you alone ni e ke blan ye ni awe bile de ke EU nyu pakwe. Ibanye wo ibile keba ye blami e wa ke EU law ni ba. She can blah if it blah bear. Allow you knew a bema name me. Yawo ebile. But because ni a your settlement indefinite leave. But about use British law under paragraph 296 of the immigration rules ni akegbe baba. No ni abakwe oshika Sunday. Abakwe yano yo oshia alo chum. Abakwe akeboda nche obile okole lo kwemo je shika kwemo pe. Shikwemo ni oyaga oya kwole oya school kebe wale ni 80 hospital ocho hospital o ke doctor abio ke school pona ba chusa le bo no ji so responsibility ke follow enyo fe baby alo ekume ejeko si ke ogban o ke inyo fe gblan ye be obanyo use lo coffee o pay na kai scapi na pio ye Ghana so responsibility can be akwe obile banye ba shlawo na no be no ba na eba
Over no onu nshi.
Inu shi. Biana you bala wo for me 2015.
Okelebedon wo biana ba kwe British no na kwa fi hale.
No mini age you follow in.
Well, under British rule, under paragraph 296, it's an ebeke eye under 18. She ajo okay European okay you a yen kwen any age of anyo okay laba.
Okay. Yo. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, Onupa.
Okay. Right.
Bye. Obi enya yemre no eko na pacho wa na mane ende with sorry pacho wa WhatsApp line so wa WhatsApp line so no una edu so una ma ende with 8977 pacho una edu so your friend say na kasa friend
pacho FM Moses
yo Papa Moses bisa wasem ne anko why
pacho bisa say so obi abaha the USS na aba and now why you presetting when you're 5 years dependent on your presetting status.
Okay.
Obi student wa so warren or new you with me I application ma student na change the state asinyi na hima and warren no application na dey between and I feel so my friend we figure na ba kuta EU SS family permit ni bi because Uncle Ben HHM from beginning commission began status because baby no. Thank you.
Yo, Papa. I am saying now follow your programs no home. And now first time. Until now can say answer explain process ni na ma no. Ya kan wasem sa. Uncle Ben wadaro man pacho.
Na kasa ni mo
enti.
Pacho dem pa no bisa.
First question no.
Said
Pacho utie me. Oh, or the so Uncle Ben.
Kasa ni mo nya de papa. We be ko me nya tutors.
Exactly. Pacho number ended with 0273. Well, o friend no kasa na monte papa obetumi asan free bi mo afo de kafra. Pacho number ended with 0273. When I do so. Your friend say na kasa free.
Hello, Mayechi. Good morning.
Good morning, Papa.
Pacho mpumti say.
Adomo ni ahwe yi ti asese di
de data. Pacho so ma wa chimpa kese.
Jo so Papa.
Yeah. Ma me person me bisa a lawyer say. Me bisa ma me nua baako. Wodi ne ma eba ha sei under EU family yibi. Na nkra no ba ye no. The lawyer no a oye an application ma no. Instead so obey no online or ye no paper wire na post to koye no nti omode card ne ba no omode card no 6 months no omode ema enkura no nti obeso obi sa say no onye ne den because ebe end June nti ebe den na wa ye but wa ye pre settled status ama nkra no a mo ama nkra no
yo papa what obi ebisa question earlier on bank Ben ampacho wadaroma
ana ayini atomo talking
papa hold on why Uncle Ben e kasa pacho hold on
yeah ade ananka mpese meka ade etwa to me are concerned about what is going on in our community with certain legal issues. I mean, first of all, who does paper application anymore, apart from derivative rights? First of all, so be a paper application mao as an EU dependent and EU kun a year eba and eja. Now uwo kumuha. Now after 2019, nipa na nyani ye. Pretty problems and be more started 80 into your say wo card ebe wuju na omo na omo aboa onye sanka wunhu enti misrade na kire ya EUSS no say wo card dada either say a old card ni bia na wo ye EUSS omo mbre wo new card when I was apply for replacement of sa old card mo amo permanent residence card no ene resident permit old ones na bi ane mo yeah paper application in I was say mo say application online mom so permanent residence card na you see ebewu as a 2026 omo mra card for we no more approve no more indefinite now when I will apply for new card replacement card I tend to say people kase I will so be apply for new card. It's absolutely not right. First of all, EU for EU passport, muhia card. EU for text me say at say there's some apply for card. EU need be any who here card. But we application. Well, yeah, you be letter, email, say they was sitting on a mouth. So letter name or reference number na 3434. Who call internet na so now would shame check my EU status. Abema link. Would the shame abema code be? Would the code ni shame ebe year ba obe say wo phone ni wo ho na atwero. Leave to remain and indefinite leave to remain. I know say wo asetna. From June no eno na adwuma for eco use. Nye card no be say. All those seminim say card na ya de mawa. And no na the first and a default evidence say was it. Even for a year card. Idea we hear say why your application, the bro email, or call online now the email reference number nishema, photo internet and so home office portal, check my status. Oh, also check my status, employer status, Udishima. Would you code no more employer? On also cause the same website now. Obe photo, obe say I trust will be to me a yejuma. More old card no. After June no card no. Ewu to kwanya won't remember. But Miss Ramo, Mamon confused so old card no with
new one.
I was so called by force so called J. And there old card and the say 1 year EUSS. And to say old card in Libya, not under the 2006 regulation. I was say we a new card in Libya. Mesramopa, new card no intre omukra the very new the new one be about in the last few months here. I know in America. Old one be away after 2019. Now we have internet so and I would do phone a year. We okay, we need problem. But for completeness no. For internet so na check. Lawyer ikra code no. Lawyer the code no be ma. Ebi a lawyer register go on the phone so na email. The entire lawyer na yes and nkrofo bebre wa omu phone omu keep no 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Now my year. Let me say my number I'm keeping over 20 years. And say, yeah. Who the na who do so number na wo ko check online na ya the code no ba sa number no so a wontimi nya no hwe because person so sa number no kra I was so the code no call with old phone number no asa na nti e better say obema lawyer no e keep sa code no wono ni phone so ne email ti da chi bia wo hia no catch unless say one number no be keep no forever.
Okay. Yo, Uncle Ben.
My tea. Intina mpache person bisa a lawyer say says here ukra 5 years no old card no na say after June ebi a opese wutu kwan ekọ ebi a Ghana old card no wintimi fam tu kwan na gise unya new one no ana
yes Ghana we use so passport but wintimi back because after June after 30th of June old ones permanent residence residence permit residence card and the old one, new one, old one. Yinina enye valid. It to kwaya with.
Papa because we enye hard yam say bibiri ntie nti we dey am say dewro na wasi ntimi bo chire yinu
yes enti na ebo dewro na wa share program no se na o ka se bibiri ntie no ba so wa share
my tea adwuma mi wo adwuma mu we kwa ma wi am ho na me dey share bi aja
no ko ya do fie pe o Facebook so na share why not bibiri na enti na nyina embo community no why ya men share papa yo say we have just 2 minutes I am in beso we dey adofo amofrefre mon fan cheme honestly agro bia e sha si bia na we wiye na kbenso o wedwumem o se mreso a okọ na okohwe client no enti mesre mo nia me ne say mefa me wo one question be my promise is say mebisa e de amano na mo mo frefre sisi ano me sramani die mo mentumi emfa course mo amugina so sisi ano na ye be answer mo na afi ye de dwumedie no abewieye enti before that no we no be call studio no be call offline just about 2-3 minutes na answer na be call offline no mo amutie yen wo tune in any radio ne so na nkasa no mesre mo after 10 o'clock 11 o'clock pepe na be call off na che say ye ne mo abewieye no enti se manti enka ebeba back after few minutes few minutes na che say yama Uncle Ben the final note no e di giant na mom Facebook ni YouTube ni there we are still continuing until the 5 minutes or 10 minutes after 11 Mr. Munshan and Sumami and America no memfa numbers biom and messages bebre e ba ya menya kwan ankan Mr. Mumindi ma bro mentumi ankan na Ochna, we have an extension, a BWF Solicitors live, no, ebeba so nyame adoma 4 to 6, and we were solid 2 hours. Sometimes come we change become home. Enti no questions me gada ni nyina na makwa ko bisa ne ho. Enti we nyamwa ye enekra na ochna bomodi make a date with us 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock no. Ebeba so making kind questions na aka ne nyina ewo ho nia yentumi ankan no kra mesene ama menua bema oreku frempon no no nso ebisa Uncle Ben enti monhya ne nsoma me why na monfa nche edwuma na ye ne yeboa community no beto de bia obi ebisa nsem na Uncle Ben to ne boas na ochirechire mu a ochire mu se ne be cover vast area enti ebia na obi ebisa asem bi wo baabi nso se ne obe ansa no na won so wenya wo de enti musremo madaroma monte na ye wa ha no Uncle Ben say time no eko na mo question baako ewa ha say o say ne dia ne say ubetumi acheche mu NHS say charge no exemption for NHS workers no see who is really exempted why you confused na odi question no e dia abreme na answer na obe answer eno no nso me fa
we enter your friend me kwabena be kasa fi Romford na person me bisa Uncle Ben about any adwuma NHS no say charge no I think say just say that
similar question na ntimpacho utumi yi ya no na afedie ne wo ho na ede abetudwa Uncle Ben wadaroma
Yo, I'm saying, or yeah, application for limited leave to remain for more than 6 months. Or I be a friend of IHS, and as immigration health surcharge. I think £640 a year, and thereabout. So, fee, covered by because of a NHS, Gina Hoyamaya, I bind the bar NHS workers, any of my family members. So, more year application, I was here exempt from IHS. I will be our year Jumama NHS, and now, sir. The Jumano a provided service Emma NHS. And yet, so when you're employed by NHS and Kasankasa, but when Jumana we be our carer, we are care worker, and I say we are porter, our NHS, and our care home and our BB. Now we provide this service my NHS, when you know we are covered.
Okay, yo, Uncle Ben. Yeah, that's it. But order for one who must so there we last one, Mr. Your friend and our Casafre. Hello. Oh, I'm saying to me, engine so am my intino. And yes, Uncle Ben, maybe sat me question back when I fed my last note. No questions, no more saying, a dorsal cacran, so no, emre na my quite yen.
Good morning, Uncle Ben. Pacho Midindi Steven. Pacho me Casefree London. Pacho me question I may want to say last year me application ma me ba. Say Umbra become home UK ha. Na tama me application na me kura permanent residence. Nti me ye no omo refuse akola no. Nti me lawyer no appeal. So ye appeal no na paper application appeal. So yeah, na a winning case no na home office for requests of akola no for passport number and BG visa no. Nti the call no visa no e buy na omo a 3 months entry, which is almost FM standard. Sana mutual visa no so. And a letter na account no almost say omo akola 10 years roots. Nti mama you confused kakra nti me friend lawyer no e ka say no. Not say that is unusual because
Where they are sorry, me volume nen cost kakrana yenti.
Na me want to say last year me application ma me ba.
Okay.
Say Umbra become home UK ha. Na tama me application na me kura permanent residence. Nti me ye omo refuse akola no. Nti me lawyer no appeal. So
But also say I want to cry.
Yeah.
Hey, interesting. And say called no. Miss Wake Akra.
appeal no. Na paper application appeal. So yeah na a winning case no. Na home office for requests of akola no for passport number and BG visa no.
Oh no.
Nti the call no visa no e buy na omo a 3 months entry, which is almost FM standard. Sana mutual visa no so. And a letter na account almost say omo akola 10 years roots. Nti mama you confused. Good morning, Uncle Ben. Pacho Midindi Steven. Pacho me Casefree London. Pacho me question I may want to say last year me application ma me ba. Say Umbra become home UK ha. Na tama me application na me kura permanent residence. Nti me ye no omo refuse akola no. Nti me lawyer no appeal. So yeah appeal no na a paper application appeal. So yeah na a winning case no na home office for requests of akola no for passport number and BG visa no. Nti the call no visa no e buy na omo a 3 months entry, which is almost FM standard. Sana mutual visa no so. And a letter na account no almost say omo akola 10 years roots. Nti mama you confused kakra nti me friend lawyer no e ka say no. Not say that is unusual because me meet all the requirements, me income threshold no me meet bibia nti onim the reason why they had to do that. Nti bia it's an error nti me de me ma akola no obedua na obetro letter ama home office for na oma rectify is a mistake. Nti na me pese me bisa say bibisa ho ya ometimi make isa rectification na near tossing me no person me say in case na kola no etimi indefinite leave to remain na person me how long will the child stay here until he's able to apply for British passport and I say British citizenship.
Okay, so we did
Well, yes, Manyati. I mean, first of all, Cratchy say we're winning about appeal. And almost their colana to 10-year route on TSC. One may enough information. Say on one or apply and I say on one apply. Anyway, say on your satisfied you have the interim man 3 months, no the rema or post office or hano akoje indefinite leave card no. So my man indefinite leave card na obetimi a request na omasesa. And this our 90 days say or the by judiciary. No home office, the rank for the that is the way. Who PR, when you're British, Obano normally and one waha no baha. Obetimi British, wabra also we British and our be British. Almost better at least 2 years. Ebium I was so chess and our phone back British and I oba on no baba British. Those are the basic requirements. And this are he has to be under 18. Odi over 18, I was sort of half for 5 years and send out to me British citizenship.
Yo, and yeah, tears, adofo, where the aheya na program no, ye de beba ewie, ye da monina se, nemum, radio no, aka just 10 seconds na back, na say, final note no, ubia answer aka. Ain't no, Uncle Ben, yen share, dodo na, modi questions about Facebook no, Miss Remo, Missing Yamea Duma, ochina 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock no. Maybe some questions na aka no maybe sa wo ho no e de amamo se ne be ya mo benya mo moaye ochna BWF Solicitors live the community and the law no ebeba so as usual na mo ba so nso no a share na se ne be ya obi ansa beka ye nua no ma e ba so Richie Dogbe o say my sister in law minimo who knows say minimo na odi unim enti no goy lolonya ye damase ye the WhatsApp number ne eto ho e de mamo nana agima nyame nhyira Abraham Listo wonso ye damase mo amoba Facebook ne so nyina ye nyina dokasa dom ye kan say Sam Kwesi Ando nana Hima Sapon ye bobodi na ye nsori ha mo nyina mo nim ho ne meka ne say meda mo nyina se unfortunately say mentimi acknowledge mo nyina mo mfa nche ne to de bia na emre na ekọ nti o say ye bomode ne yekoyi ne mu ntemtem nyame nhyira mo Uncle Ben yaba na sana yebekọ no minim say wo last note bi a ode be mayen patcho before ode be mayen no BWF Solicitors for na ye ne omudi dwuma no na senior ne bia make no BWF Solicitors omo over 28 years experience e was a law ade bia ye kan ho asem nti wa hwe say akwala kra na wa wo na asese kra wo na kanso na che say wenyi wunimu pa BWF Solicitors ohwehwe omo ekira akwan omo 214 to 218 High Road 7 Sisters kwan so pepe na say call with train and with bus and with underground. Now first of all underground over 7 Sisters train station 7 Sisters Victoria line no ubesi was 7 Sisters station no upie station no bomode ansa na obepie no hwehwe exit number 2 exit 2 no upie wo so a abansoro na omo no esi wenim pepepepepe nya yira kwan kra ana wo de wo yira po a obi obehu ne bia ka se o hwehwe ana house ana BWF Solicitors for asueye obehu omo wo 4th floor kohonom o kohon so a di kan frɛ omo number no na yema appointment se ne be ya ubedu ho no na ya hyehyɛ sɛ obi si protocol yɛ de ato de twɛn wo nti wobɛkɔ na wo de mu fia na ya ama sometimes too you can walk in so a ɛne sɛ ne tie ne bia no ɔmbɛhwɛ ɔmo ngya wo echi bɔmɔden na ko ho ɔmo nsɛm a ɛfa immigration ho nsɛm a ɛfa litigation Ghanaian law kra ɔmo yɛ expert sɛ bia no bɔmɔden family law titiri no ɛyɛ ɔmo number 1 no bɔmɔden ɛne immigration no bɔmɔden na fa kɔto ɔmo obi de asem betu me na mpese nka bisa bank be nyame adoma ochena be bisa obi ne yire a omo kontokwa na family law hu edwuma no mo ya ade pa nti bomodia na fakosi omo na mo ndi edwuma no emma omo wo numbers different oh hwehwa antana uncle Ben owie pe mebobo numbers na mamo na chese odi atomo phone so mo de atomo kotowia no abribia you can contact them and they are there for the community nti ombebo akwan bia so uncle Ben ansana obeko na ene de na odi bejaye ansana waja
Manyeti say unim say community issue no I idea within the next 2.5 months and important say nyina ya beboa wono a wentimentie ye na yama o mate ade poten eba de eba ne say obi a we uni ugina uni so between January 2019 and when application a no line no ana ye di phone no ye na Mr. Yes application EU for no mo de mo hia card bia nti menko gina baby mo bi nka so we was mo je card be when application na ye be brow letter be na letter na nka sampo no ese go internet na so nti wo portal na yeah wasetena no home of portal no o photo ni go ama wasa kire se obetimi atena komo atimi aye adwuma nti ko pa adwuma ho no be check wo ko tie na ho no check Mr. Mopa, se wuni mobi, wadamfo, wasori ni wunuya, na wuni mse oye iyu ni ebusiani ya. Wuni ni ndi nkomo na on tese bibi saaba because unfortunately no, krofo bebre enti, ya try si ebe ye die, be explaining, abokoko, ani bibi ya, ba moso mo die no se, mobe mo omate. Se onye application ewo internet so and on funny phone onye application na onye derivative right ni nti the paper na no the paper na aye so your issues unyina monye sure say mo boaboa mo ho mo ne madofo kasa because June do near pa ho all those almost or explanation how betimi aye no mempese ode wo ho ba koma sankofo we sometimes you know hostile environment, it's be a very, very hostile. Why we neko affect with Juma and I say with mortgage and our savings and our driving. Tiesramo pa mama muniano monte na omundi say Juma no. Medamase.
Yes, that's Uncle Ben. Yamin Shroud. Now, Uncle Ben, and Uncle me too, Mama, announce I want me say me and I'm next producer. But happy birthday, belated happy birthday, Uncle Ben. Now me pen pa de atu jana so emre ema Uncle Ben, Yamin Shroud. Bibia obi so bia enye shra emma. Na amanse nyina embo si embe hwehwe Uncle Ben because onyame ishra no. Papa yedase. Yamin Shroud.
Mama wish me happy birthday last weekend, so
yo, bye. Yo, it's here for ahanadi yedi dwumadie no ebe ewiye na ye sorry so senior mighty kan aka no ne onyame adoma ochena 4 to 6 ye